Comic-Con rolls on, clips, teasers, posters, casting, TV shows, movies, all this stuff. But you know what? There's only one thing I'm gonna talk about. It's gotta be Doctor Who. We have gotten a 1-minute trailer for this year's Christmas special, Peter Capaldi's last story as the Doctor, called Twice Upon a Time, and I have some thoughts on it. And no, I am in no way addressing the 13th Doctor thing in this one at all. I am done talking about that for a while. So first off, this seems like a random thing, but I feel the need to point it out here because I've started rewatching Capaldi's older stuff, like going back to series 8, and I really love his hair now so much more than before. He had kind of a tight crop thing. I love the long, wild hair, and it's just, it feels much more doctorish to me. But we actually don't even start with Capaldi. We start with Peter Bradley, and I like that we start in black and white. I like that it fades into color. I expect that's probably not something that will happen in the episode proper, and that it was done just for the sake of this promo. But I think it's cool, and I like how it just firmly establishes him as the first Doctor, possibly for those who didn't watch An Adventure in Space and Time. Although if you haven't watched An Adventure in Space and Time, you should. It's great. And we get a little bit of a hint of what the problem seems to be with the whole idea of them stuck in a moment in time. Well, of course, we have no indication of what has caused that, whether it is the Doctor himself in either meeting with himself or possibly what he's doing to delay his regeneration might be what's throwing everything off. I hope that's not it. I don't particularly want basically the whole episode to be just him having to get over himself and just accept his own regeneration, because that's what's screwing everything up. I don't like that as a premise. That was one of the major things that really bothered me about Father's Day, if I was to reach back a ways, because the solution to that problem was so obvious immediately. I just hate that they dragged it out with the characters just not letting the obvious solution happen. That bothers me. It's not impossible to pull off, but it's really difficult. We're getting Mark Gatiss as some sort of British soldiery person. I'm putting even odds as to whether or not he's playing the Brigadier, which I would be perfectly okay with. I've put my reservations about the idea of bringing back, well, specifically earlier incarnations of the Doctor, but in broad strokes, bringing back older characters, having them played by new actors, and I'm still wary about it, but I'm going to reiterate, it's not the idea inherently. I think it can be done, and it can be done well. I think David Bradley is going to be an example of doing it well. I just don't like the precedent that it sends, that I don't want the show to ever get willy-nilly and careless about it, because they could really start screwing up the legacy of some great characters and some great performers if they overdo it or they cast it wrong or what have you. So the practice makes me nervous, but you know, certainly the specific instance with David Bradley, I'm down for. If this does turn out to be the Brigadier, I'm down for that. If it's not, totally fine with that too. I kind of like that we seem to be getting a little bit of Peter Capaldi in grumpy mode as well, because I'm kind of the tail end of Series 10, especially, you know, he was very much in gotta save people, gotta save people, gotta save people, and he's a bit less grumpy. And this is odd coming from me, because I think he was probably a little overly grumpy in that first series that he had. But at the same time, I kind of like that we're getting that back, so we get like one more taste of it, because we got it when the guy asked, you know, is one of you a doctor? Just like, are you trying to be funny? There's just something about that response. I'm like, okay, I think given the circumstances, he has a right to be grumpy. And Bill is coming back, which I'm not going to be as mad about this as Clara coming back after her perfectly fine death. But here's the thing, at this point, much like how I'm very sick of the companion template being young, attractive women from modern day era Earth, I'm also very tired of this no companion who leaves can just have their exit be their exit. They have to come back in some way for some additional button on it, because we've gotten it with Rose, we got it with Martha, we got it with Donna, we got it with Amy, we got it with Clara, now we're gonna get it with Bill, and it's just a pattern I want to see broken. Now, in terms of that pattern, not every individual instance of it was awful. Some of them worked really well. I think the way that Rose was brought back worked very well. I think the way that Martha was brought back worked not quite as well. Donna, for me, worked. I know for some other people didn't. Amy's moment was simple enough, and just buttoning the very end of Matt Smith's run, I thought it was fine. Clara, her thing coming back and Hellbent, I really didn't like. So, I mean, the use of this thing can go either way. Can be good, can be bad, but it's happened for every major companion now in New Who. I'm sick of it. How about when they leave, they're done? That's it. I'm really tired of a character's exit not really being their exit, because I get emotionally invested in the fact that that was the last time we were going to see them. And I don't like my investment in that being taken for granted and just going, oh, here they are again. It's like, but I haven't yet gotten to the point where I'm going to not allow myself to get emotionally invested because I figure they're just going to do this kind of crap, but I might be there now after this, and I don't want to be there. I want to be able to fully enjoy every moment, every exit, every death. I want to take it for what it is and absorb it and just deal with that. I don't want that experience undermined, in this case, the very next episode. I know we got months in between, but come on. And I don't like that I have to say this, because in isolation, I'd be fine with it. I loved Bill. Bill was great. I'd be happy to see more of her, but I'm sick of this pattern. So there's my one big reservation that I'm going to be going into the last episode for Peter Capaldi with Twice Upon a Time, apparently. I guess that's fine as a title. I don't get too hung up about the titles as far as those go, but there's things that I am pumped for, looking forward to. One thing I'm really not. Something that I'll be curious about in terms of whether Mark Gatiss is playing somebody or just being standard British officer guy. I look forward to him anyways. His writing can go either way. I think he was a better writer on Sherlock than he was on Doctor Who, as much as I take issue with the final series of Sherlock. But his writing on Doctor Who has never been great for me. I've pretty much liked all his appearances I've seen him as an actor, though, so I'll be happy to see him thrown in the mix. So those are my thoughts on the trailer for Twice Upon a Time, the upcoming Doctor Who Christmas special. Have you seen it? What are your thoughts on it? Whatever they are, drop something down in the comments. Let's talk about it. Don't forget to like, subscribe, check me out on Twitter at Council of Geeks. Give a listen to the Council of Geeks podcast, or I am also one half of the Punch Like a Girl podcast, both available on iTunes and Stitcher. And until next time, this council is adjourned.